Okay, hi. We're gonna start doing this, learning how to do this C2C crochet. This is what I worked up yesterday, just a quick, it's like Barbie size blanket, I guess, to show you how you will get to a certain point and decrease only one side and continue to grow the other side so you have a rectangle instead of a square. There are some people who would prefer to do a square, and that's fine. It's whatever you prefer. I don't have square blankets in my house. I have rectangular ones, so that's what I want to do. So you would decrease one side and grow the other. So what we're going to do is work on that so that we can get that result. We're going to start out. Where'd I put my hook? I had a hook. There it is. We're going to start out by doing a slip stitch. I've got a shadow in my shot. Let's see if I can make it better. Sorta. I still have a shadow. Let's see if I can turn here a little bit. Okay. I'm not used to working with a camera in front of my face, so hopefully my hands will stay in the shot. Let's try that again. First we do our slip knot. And then to start the C2C out, we are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 chains down from our hook and double crochet into that chain. And then we're going to double crochet into the chain below that one. And the same thing with the one below that. Until we get this tab. We are at the end of our row, so we will simply turn our work. Now when we are doing a regular back and forth single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet blanket, we always chain at the end of our row before we turn. We don't do that with this. We just simply turn it. We are at I don't know what that is. We are at the beginning of our row, and since we need to do the corner to corner, we start every increasing row with a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we do the same thing we did before. 1, 2, 3, 4 down from the hook. We double crochet into it. Double crochet into the one below that. And double crochet into the one below that. Now we have these 2 tabs here, but what we are going to do is, that is actually flipped around. We need to flip this down, pull it up. We have a space right here. We are going to slip stitch into that space. So we have them attached now. And we are going to chain 3 right here. 1, 2, 3. And we are going to double crochet 3 times into this same space. 1, 2, 3, and now we are at the end of our row. And do you see how we have it taking shape? This is our bottom corner. This is just gonna, right now we are on row 2. We've got 2 blocks. Row 1 was 1 block, row 2 is 2 blocks. The next one up is gonna have 3 blocks. We are at the end of our row, and we're going to turn our work. We are at the beginning of our increasing row, so just like last time, we chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Count 4 down from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want to double crochet into that 4th stitch, or that 4th chain from our hook. And the one below that as well. And the one below that. And flip that around the right way. Then we see this space here again, the last space in our block. We are going to slip stitch again into that block to attach it together. Then we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we are going to double crochet 3 times into that same space like we did previously. There we go, and this is the end of this is our last block. There's that last space. We are going to slip stitch in, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and double crochet 3 times into that space. It's very repetitive. Once you start going, we are at the end of our row. We're going to simply turn our work and see we have it taking shape already. But we are going to keep increasing it until we get, if you were doing a regular size blanket, you would increase it to the width that you want it. And if you are wanting the rectangle, you would decrease one side, increase the other side, so that the one side keeps getting longer and longer, and this side and the width will stay the same. But we are wanting to get it to be this width and this length for this tutorial. So we are at the beginning of our row. No, we're not. We still have to do one here. I didn't do enough double crochets. Here we go. Okay, now we turn our work. We're at the beginning of the row again. So we will chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count 4th down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double crochet into it. Double crochet into the one below that. And double crochet into the one below that. And then we get to the spot where we want the last space, and we slip stitch in. And then we'll count 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll double crochet into that space 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And my kitten has come to visit. Hopefully she doesn't want to play with the yarn. Nope, she wants to play with my reminder marker. We'll put that somewhere where she can't find it. She's following my hand. Okay, so we want to go into this next space with our slip stitch. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and double crochet into that space 3 times. And we just continue to do this through the row. One more. We go to this space. And we slip stitch. And we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we double crochet into that space. Three times. Okay. We turn our work and we continue on where you chain 6, go into the 4th chain from the hook and double crochet, the chain below that, double crochet, the chain below that, double crochet. So you have a total of 3 double crochets in that chain, starting from the 4th down. And then you slip stitch into that space and chain your 3 and do your 3 double crochets. So we'll do that for a few rows and then I'll come back. Okay, we're back, and I think this is the last row that we want to do before we start decreasing on one side. So I started in on my row, and I am continuing on, chain 3, double crochet 3 times into the space, feel free to pause the video or back it up or anything so that you can get the rhythm if I'm going too fast for you. Chain or slip stitch, chain 3, double crochet 3 times into the space, slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet 3 times into that space, and if you didn't notice, I do hold my yarn weird. I don't hold it with this finger for my tension, I hold it with this finger. When I learned how to crochet, I taught myself with YouTube videos, and that was the most comfortable way for me to do it, and it became a habit, and now I have a hard time getting out of it. I also hold my hook like a knife rather than a pencil. It's just whatever's comfortable for you. Hold your hook and your yarn the way it works for you. Chain 3, slip stitch, chain 3, double crochet into the space, three times, 2, 3, and here was where we're going to want to start to decrease. So instead of slip stitching and then chaining up 3, we are just going to slip stitch, and we're going to turn. Another thing that you might have noticed is that we are not chaining at the end of our row. Normally when we would do the normal, back and forth rows, we would chain at the end of our row before we turn our work, and then we would continue on. We don't do this with the C2C. We just turn it. So this is our decreasing row. So we're not going to chain 6, because when we chain 6 at the beginning of a row, we're increasing it. And we don't want to do that. We want to decrease. So what we're going to do right here is, see these 3 chains, or these 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. We are going to slip stitch into all 3 of those. 1, 2, 3, and then we're at our space here. We're going to slip stitch into that. Then we're going to continue on like we did for the rest of the row, and we are going to chain 3. And then we're going to double crochet 3 times. Into that space. Then we're going to slip stitch, just like we do with the rest of the row. The only thing that's different is the beginning of the row and the end of the row. Everything in between is exactly the same. 3 double crochets into the space. And I hope all this makes sense to you. This is my first video, so I am new to it. I typically am not a good crocheting teacher. I've had people wanting me to show them, and I thought I absolutely can't. But a video, maybe I'll try, and we'll see how it goes. Slip stitch. Chain 3. I've got the kitten down on the floor playing with my yarn. Her name is Oreo. She's 10 weeks old. We've had her since she was 5 weeks, which is typically too early for adopting a kitten, but she was abandoned and needed a place to go. She had 5 other siblings that all were killed. So, and she was taken away from her mother and abandoned, so we decided that we were going to take her in. She's still learning how to litter box train, even at 10 weeks, because she didn't have her mama to show her how. But she's absolutely adorable, and we love her. She's been a good distraction since we had a 13-year-old cat that 3 weeks ago tomorrow, or no, 3 weeks ago Thursday, it's Tuesday today, we had to put to sleep. So she's been a nice distraction, not a replacement, but a distraction. And we have 2 other cats as well. Only one of them is enjoying the kitten. The other one, I think, is resenting her right now because her best friend is gone. 2, 3, slip stitch, or slip stitch. I know what I'm talking about. I've distracted myself with cats. Double crochet. One more time. She's going to pull my yarn right off the table. The joys of trying to crochet around cats. And sometimes I hear even dogs. Slip stitch. Chain 3 and double crochet. Three times into the space. And this is our decreasing row, or I mean our increasing row. This is our decreasing row. So we are going to slip stitch into that space and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we're gonna, oh, the other cat's coming to visit. Double crochet 3 times into this space. And then we're going to turn our work. And since this is our increasing row, we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 chains down from our hook. We're going to double crochet in. And we're going to do the same underneath that. And the same underneath that. And the cat's going to knock things off my table. And then we're going to slip stitch into here like we normally do. Chain 3. Double crochet in 3 times. And big surprise, because the cat was down there, I got a little bit of a knot. At least it was a loose knot. And what we're going to do right here, because this is our increasing row, and we don't want to get confused where we're at, I take this little piece of yarn and I stick it in the space at the end. And this is going to serve as a reminder that when we get back to this side, this is the side we're going to increase instead of decrease. Because otherwise it's easy to get carried away and forget what you're doing. So we're going to slip stitch and chain 3. 3 double crochets. Slip stitch. Chain 3. 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. Yep, she's got my yarn down there. Slip stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochets. She's not even playing with my yarn at this point, she's just standing on it. Just to make it a little bit more difficult for me, right? One more double crochet. slip stitch. 1, 2, 3 chains, 3 double crochets in the space, slip stitch. We're getting close to the end of our row where we're going to be decreasing it. You see that our side has already taken shape. This is no longer the end of the row. Let me remind you of that. When I first started, I would go all the way to the end because to me this was the end of the row and I couldn't understand why it was curving. This is no longer the end of your row. This is your edge. So this is the end of your row. So we've slip stitched 2, 3 chains, and 3 double crochet, and since this is the end of the row, we are simply going to slip stitch here. And then we are going to turn our work. See how the edge is taking shape here? And since this is not an increasing side, we are slip stitching. Remember, 1, 2, 3 into those 3 stitches. So we are going to slip stitch here. 1, 2, 3. There's our space. We slip stitch into that like we do with all our other spaces. And then we chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. And undo our 3 double crochets. We slip stitch, and we're going to continue to do that until we get to the end of the row, and we do the end of the row like we did with our increasing side before. You get to here, you slip stitch, you chain 3, you double crochet 3 times in, and then you turn it, and then when you turn it, you'll then do your 6 double, or good golly, you'll do your 6 chains at the beginning. Over here you'll chain 6, go into the 4th chain from your hook, and then you will do the double crochet under that chain and double crochet under that chain, and then you will slip stitch into the last space like you do all these other blocks. And I will meet back with you when we are ready to start decreasing this side. Okay, this is the last row we're going to do before we get to the end of our row. This is where we were increasing, this is where we were decreasing, but this is the last row that we are going to do, and then we are going to start decreasing on this side as well. So I just finished a row and turned my work, so now I need to slip stitch into those chains, or into those stitches rather, and there's our space. We are going to slip stitch to there and chain 3, double crochet 3 times into the space, slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, And I definitely feel like these C2C blankets work up a lot faster than going back and forth bottom to top. I've done a lot of baby blankets, and I did a baby blanket in a C2C that I started on Thursday, and I got it done in no time at all. It took me a lot less time than doing the back and forth bottom to top that I always did. So Sunday I can bring that baby blanket to church and give it to the couple that just had a baby. And I do have to work up another one because there's another lady in our church who is having her baby tomorrow. And I'm a little bit behind schedule. I usually like to have the blankets done before the babies are born. 2, 3. Guess that's like my little ministry at the church there. I make the baby blankets for the new moms, and even the moms that already have babies or kids. It's just nice to give them something that's just for that child. It's a little gift, and congratulations. 1, 2, 3. I wish I knew how to crochet when I had my son. I would have made him up all sorts of blankets, but I didn't learn how to crochet until about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. Oops, I'm talking and I'm doing it wrong here. Slip stitch, chain 3, oop, popped out, 3 double crochets, one more, and this is where we are going to start decreasing. So we just slip stitch and then we turn our work. So now, once we've turned, we're going to do the 3 slip stitches like we were doing on the other side. 1, 2, 3. There's your space. You slip stitch into that. Then you chain up 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you double crochet. And the middle is always the same, like I said, very repetitive. So once you got the rule down in your head, you don't even need a pattern. Now each end of the row is just going to be the same with the decreasing until the ends meet. Three, slip stitch, chain 3, double crochet, and I hope I'm not going too fast. This is my first video, like I said. I hope to do more, but I never thought of myself as a good crocheting teacher in the first place, but we'll see what happens. If I'm confident enough in a certain stitch, I have no problem showing it. I don't even have a problem showing when I make a mistake, because then you know that I'm just as human. You probably would make the same mistakes, and then we can fix them together. chain 3, double crochet 3 times, and as you can see, we are at the end of the row and we are decreasing, so we're just going to slip stitch and are we at the end? Yes, we are. And then we're going to turn our work. Sometimes I'm still used to looking at it this way, and I thought, wait a minute, we're not right. But we are. I've only been doing the corner to corner since Thursday, so it's new to me too, but once you get it, it's in your head, and now I feel like I can show others how to do it. The decreasing was the bane of my existence for like a day, until somebody took the time to show me. Do our slip stitches at the beginning of this row. Cat's on my shoulder, kitten. Slip stitch into the space. And then we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and double crochet 3 times into the space. You're playing with my yarn, aren't you? You want to play. What are you making these videos for? I want your attention. Fuzzy's stuck to it. Stitch, chain up 3, well, hello Oreo. Her name is Oreo. She's looking for a way to get on my chest to lay down and have a nap. She likes to do that. She's definitely bonded with us. We're the only people she really got to know. Put you over here, huh? Okay. Because my yarn is in the way, otherwise she just wants that yarn. It's taunting her. 1, 2, 3. Three double crochets. And you see we have 2 blocks left. Whoop, I almost did a stitch instead of a slip. 1, 2, 3. Kitten's climbing up my leg. It's a good thing it doesn't hurt too much yet because she's light as a feather. One more here. And then this is the end of our row, so we slip stitch. We turn our work. And then of course we are going to chain, or we're going to slip stitch into these first 3. One, 2, 3. There's our space. Slip stitch into that one and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And do you see the repetitiveness of this in each row? The only thing that ever changes is when you are increasing and decreasing at the beginning and the end. The middle is always the same. We've only got a few more rows before it will meet up on itself. we did enough there. Sometimes I lose track of where I'm at because I'm talking. 1, 2, 3. 3 double crochets. Slip stitch. Chain 3. 3 double crochets. And just as the decreasing was the bane of my existence, it may very well be yours, and it'll take some practice. I had to frog my work 3 or 4 times before I got it right. And this is the end of the row, so we slip stitch. And then we turn our work. And this is a good way to find out how many rows you have left before your edges meet up into a corner. You have 3 blocks here. 1, 2, 3. You have 3 rows. So 3 more rows and we are done. So we have to do our slip stitches. 1, 2, 3. There's your space. Slip stitch. Some people don't slip stitch into that space when they're decreasing. I do, but if you choose not to, that is completely up to you. I think it will still look fine. Whoop. Because I watched tutorial videos of my own where everybody has just a little bit different of a technique. But you choose the technique that you like best. That still makes your work look good. And as you're decreasing, especially once you start decreasing both sides, you just work up your blanket faster and faster, because every row completed means the next row is even shorter. This is the end of the row. So you'll find you get through your decreasing rows a lot faster each time you complete one. 2 rows left. We slip stitch. Slip stitch. And we slip stitch. There's your space that you can slip stitch into or not. I do. Chain up 3. And we are actually, even though I said 2 rows left, technically we are done. This is where we will complete our rectangle. This is the end. We slip stitch just like every other row, and then you would fasten it off, and it is completed. And that's all that there is to that. That obviously is only like a Barbie size blanket. If you are working up one for a child or for a baby or for an adult, you would just make your width as wide as you want it, which means for a while longer you will not decrease. You will continue to increase these rows right here. You'll just continue until it is as wide as you want it. Once it is as wide as you want it, if you're wanting it to be a rectangle instead of a square, you will do what we did and just decrease the one side. Put the marker on the other side so that it reminds you this side is different than this side. This side is where we will increase it. This is the side we are decreasing. And then you get to the length you want, which can be as large as you want to. And when you get it to as long as you want, you just start decreasing it on both sides like we had been doing. And then you fasten it off with that last slip stitch, and you cut it off and you weave in your ends, and you are completed. Now, I have not done color changes yet, but that is my next goal. Like I said, I just learned this C2C blanket on Thursday, and I just mastered the decreasing on Saturday. So I am still going to tackle the color changes myself. But when it's a solid color, no one would ever know that you did this corner to corner. But the stitches look absolutely beautiful. I want to get a white yarn and work up a wedding blanket. I think in a white it would make a beautiful wedding blanket. Now if you were going to do stripes, I think this is where the color change would come in handy. This is where people will be able to tell you worked this way and not this way. So my next goal is to work on the color changing, and then I can make up a video for that one as well. I hope this helped you. Play it as often as you need to. Pause it, rewind it, all of that. And I hope this was helpful. Thank you.